Alright, so this video is going to show you how to create a layout in AutoCAD with the NRCS template. And so you don't have to do it over and over every single time you open up an AutoCAD session. I'm going to show you how to create a DWT and have it be the default drawing. So the first thing we're going to do is, once you have your drawing set up like this, you're going to go to the big A. We're going to save as. We want this drawing to be saved as a DWT, and I want it to be named Jeremy template. Name it whatever you want. And these are all the default templates that come with AutoCAD when you first download it on your computer. So once you have created a template that you want to use for all your drawings for every design thereafter, the template includes not only just what you see here, the NRCS drawing layout. It'll also incorporate the type of font that you want, the size of font, the size of your letters, all that stuff I have already set up, and so I don't want to ever have to go back and reset it up, so I'm going to save it as a template. So I'm going to save it as Jeremy template as a DWT, click save. I'll say yes, it's fine. Name whatever description you want, I'll just say Jeremy. Click OK. And then every time I open up AutoCAD, right now if I start a new drawing, I'm going to have that show up. And my layouts are meaningless to me. I want this to show up every time I open a drawing. So what I'm going to do is, for that to happen every time I click the blank white paper, which is the command Q new, I'm going to go to right click down here on the command prompt, click options. I'm then going to go to files. I'm going to go to template settings. I'm going to go to Q new. Double click. Right now the default template is AutoCAD Civil 3D Imperial. I'm going to double click that, and I want Jeremy template to open up every time Q new is prompted. So apply, OK. So now when I click Q new on any new drawing, I can start off where I had started off a previous design. So that's the first thing, so you don't have to reset up everything over and over and over again. So if you need that template on your computer, just let me know and I will send it to you. And then you can follow this video on how to put that on your default template under the command prompt and options. So now I'm ready to start a new layout for a new drawing. I have the template that I need. As far as AutoCAD, you have Paperspace, which I'm currently in. As soon as I double click in the viewport, that's what this black line is, the viewport. When you double click it and the line turns bold around it, your viewport, you're in model space. So I can zoom in and zoom out of model space as I deem fit. As soon as I double click out of model space, I'm in paper space. Now the contrary to that is, as soon as I click paper, oops, double click. I want to go back to paper space. Oh, it's not letting me do it. What the hell? That's interesting. Paper. Model. Normally when you click model space, it takes you to, you're basically in a zoomed in version of this. You're in, this is what model space looks like. So
I think it's possibly because you're sharing your screen as well as.
I'm not too sure, man. That's a good question. So for now, just so that we can get, it's pretty much the same difference. I'm going to lock the, when you lock the model space, it doesn't allow you to zoom out anymore, and then you're back into paper space. So I'm in paper space right now. Double click in the viewport, I'm in model space, and I can do all my modeling in model space. You want to make sure that when you're drawing things, you're not drawing them in paper space, because then you can't draw things to scale. So just make sure that when you're drawing your design in AutoCAD that you're in model space, because then you can change your scale. So in this case, I want my scale, let's just try 1 to 100. That's too close. Like, actually may work. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's go back to where I can see that farm. So my farm is right there. And I want to choose a scale that'll allow me to see it in a good manner. So 1 to 100 is a little bit too close. Let's try 1 to 150. 1 to 150 almost works. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to use. So 1 to 150 is the scale I want this viewport to be locked in. So I'm going to click lock. And now it won't, when I zoom in and zoom out, the viewport will stay in its current configuration. So I double clicked out of the viewport. Now I'm in paper space. I'm going to delete the scale bar, and I'm going to delete this north arrow. And now I have a new design, and I need to design the new layout for the new design. So what I do is once again, I'm going to start from the very beginning. I'm going to get out of AutoCAD altogether. And I'm going to pretend that I'm starting this brand new. So I'm going to go to AutoCAD. Oops. Autodesk, AutoCAD Civil 3D. We're always working in Civil 3D 28 to 18 Imperial, so make sure you click that one. It fires up. And it'll prompt you if you want to use online map data, you want to say yes, and I'll just click remember my choice. That allows you to design your line work on Google Earth imagery. And as you can see, because I set my Q new to open up my template from the very onset, even though this was a design I previously used, I'm starting off without having to set up this template again. So once again, I'm going to delete things that I'm going to show you how to do. In this case, we want to bring in points from a survey we did, so that way we can know where in the heck we are in the real world. So what I'm going to do is this template should already have my coordinate system set, and it does. So if you use the template that I showed you previously, state plane, central zone has already been set up. So I don't even have to set that up. I can just bring my points in, assuming you're bringing in your points in Central 3002. If you're in Grants, or if you'd be 3003, or if you're in Santa Rosa, 3001. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Insert, Points from File. I want to bring my survey in. I'm going to go to Add. This is the survey we did. You're going to pan to wherever your survey is. It's a CSV. Open it. It came in all right. Comma delimited, PNZD. This is the default. So choose that. All this stays the same. Click OK. Because there's already points from my previous design in here, it's going to say there's duplicate points. So all I say is just to use the next number after that and apply it to all numbers. Click OK. Where's my points? Well, until I zoom out, I won't see them. So double click. This farm is in Belen. The farm I'm bringing in is in Hemis Springs. I'm going to unlock my viewport so that I can zoom out. and zoom out even more. And then I'm going to just type the command, oh shoot, regen all. If you can't see all your points, then regen all. And I'm going to pan over all this, and my points should be in here somewhere. They should highlight. So let's see what we got. So these points, I don't want those. I don't want those. I don't know what these points are. Okay, so my points are not showing up. I want my layer to be turned off. So we'll go to layer, and we'll go to, yep, V node is off. This layer here is the layer that if you can't see points, then one of two things are happening. Either regen will help them show up, because initially when you put them in, they may not show up, or you have the layer turned off. So now that I have the layer turned on, I can zoom out, and then I'll see my points. So I'm going to highlight just everywhere, and these are the points I was looking for that didn't show up before. So the text gets really big, so as soon as you type regen all, text gets smaller. So we're going to keep zooming in until we're out in the farm, regen all. Instead of having to type it every single time, you right click, repeat regen all, and these are the points for the field in question. So now I got my points from my survey. I want to put this at a scale that is usable, so it looks like 1 to 80 works. Yeah, 1 to 80 will give me what I need, and that's our land leveling survey. So I'm going to lock the viewport at 1 to 80. The next thing I'll do is I'll put a scale on it. I'm going to double click out of it. I'm going to click north arrow, which is under layout tools. It's going to tell me what arrow do I want to use. I just use this one. You can use whatever you want. Select your viewport. My viewport highlights, that's the one I want. Click it. It tells you where do you want to put your north arrow. I'm just going to put it over here. It'll tell you, it comes in really small. So what you got to do is type the command SC for scale. Click it. Click enter. Hover over the center. If that point doesn't come on, it's because your snap is not on. So I can turn off all these snaps if I want. I want center to show only in this case. And there's the center. Click it, and then just pull out your cursor until it's the size you want. And there you go. The next thing I want is a scale bar. On your layout, you always want a scale bar. I'm going to go to, I just use scale bar imperial. It tells you to select your viewport. For whatever reason, it goes to the 10 thousandths point, and I just changed that to 0. And it's going to basically say that every scale bar is going to be 160 feet. So click OK, and then put your scale bar wherever you want. I'm going to put it right here. So now you have a layout that's usable for measuring things, and you can know what's the distance from here. Double click into the viewport, make it into model space. If you want to know what the distance is from this point to this point, well, you now have a scale, and that looks about 320 feet using the scale. All right, so the next thing I want to do, in this case, we're designing a field with has 6 fields, and we want to do a pipeline. So what I'll do is I'll just zoom in on the, well, first of all, let's go there. Let's see here. Oh, there's the model. So This is what I was looking for earlier. Click this, and this will get us truly into model. So now we're in model space. Model space is no different than being in your layout. Paper space is right there. As soon as I double click, that's model space. The only difference is the text size doesn't change when you zoom in. It's fixed at 0.08 is the size because that's what I made it. In model space, you'll see I'm going to pan to those same points. I'm going to be over here in HEMIS. And if you can't find them, there they are. You'll see what I'm talking about. When I zoom in, these points are smaller. So in model space, when you change the size of your annotation scale, it'll change with it. If you want them bigger, you just make the scale bigger. Now I try to make it small or usable so that what I'm going to do, because I'm killing two birds with one stone, we're doing a layout for a design, and this is also a training video. I'm going to do the layout from beginning to end. The command to do a line is PL for polyline. Right now, if I try to click any of these points, you see there's no snapping. It's because I turned the snap off. I'm going to turn the snap to be a node because these are considered nodes, and now I'll be able to click to them. So what we have going on here is we're going to be putting a pipeline. Right now there's a ditch that goes all along here. We're going to do a pipeline that goes from the main irrigation ditch is all here. We're going to put a water control structure right here, a head gate, and then pipe this existing ditch and put one alfalfa valve on each of these fields, and we're leveling each of these fields. Okay, so these are my cross-section shots of the ditch, and all I'm going to do is let's make these texts a little bit smaller. If you go to 1 to 1, that's the smallest. There's all my points. I'm going to PL for polyline. I'm just going to use the bottommost point. So there's 47.9, 47.6. I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to start drawing a line to represent my pipe. So it's going to go from there to there. What's this? This is a road edge. So I'm creating the center line of my pipe. This is an existing 18-inch culvert, existing slide gate. So the pipe I already know is going to go like this. So I'm just going to draw it real quickly. And the pipe is going to go all the way to about right there. Click enter. All right. And at this point, before I go, now I have enough for the pipeline, so I'm going to go get out of model space and go back into paper space. There's my draw. I'm still in model space because the viewport is highlighted. If you double click, now I'm in paper space. But I want to be in model space, even though outside of model space, this is all paper space. Okay, so now I'm ready just to draw what I'm going to design. At this point, we already have a profile done, we already have a land leveling design done, and a cover sheet, and we have a end-line assembly and a irrigation data sheet with all the hydraulics done. I just want a layout view. Every design should have a layout view in some form or another. And this is what I'm going to do next. So I don't want these points here anymore. I'm done with them. I just used them to be able to create the center line of my pipe. So I'm going to turn off that layer, the vNode layer. By default, AutoCAD uses vNode to house all your points. And I'm going to turn it off. You can either turn it off here or you can freeze it in the current viewport, assuming you have more than one viewport. So we're just going to turn it off. You see it doesn't go away. That's because you have to regenerate it. Regen all. Now they're gone. Okay, so now all I'm going to be doing is making a pretty picture of what the profile is. But the pretty picture is going to coincide with my pipeline profile. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw circles for where all my alfalfa valves are going to be. So just type in circle, type enter. We're combining these two fields. I'm going to put an alfalfa valve right here. So I'm just going to click. You can specify the diameter of the alfalfa valve. In all reality, alfalfa valve is only 15 inches, but if you were to make this 15 inches, you'd have a little square, so I'll show you that. Right now, that's 6 foot. Well, before I do that, let's do it again. Click where you want it. You can see down here, diameter is what you would enter. That's right there is 159 feet diameter. That is 7 foot diameter. So to show you what I'm talking about, if you make this 1.25 feet, how are you going to see that in your layout? So I just make it bigger than what it really is. So let's just make it. If you want to repeat a command, right click, go to recent input, and circle. We're going to put the circle there. I'm just going to make it 6 foot so we can see it. And then I'm going to copy that circle. Command is CP. Select what I want to copy. Click enter. Select the middle of it and start moving. I want a alfalfa valve there, I want an alfalfa valve there, and I want a alfalfa valve there, and one at the end. Click enter. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hatch it red so that you can see it. So command is hatch. It's already red here. If you want it to be yellow, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to select each circle so it turns red, and these are all my alfalfa valves. Enter. Okay, so I'm just going to pretend that all my alfalfa valves are spaced 100 feet just for the sake of this training, so it goes quick. So what I would do is I would call out each alfalfa valve's location, showing its corresponding station. So the command to put text is mtext. Oh, before I do that, actually, the command is leader. So I want to create a leader. And then you specify where your leader wants to start. So I want it to start here, the arrow to start there. You extend the leader for how long you want it to be. Click again. And then if you're done, you just click enter. Now it's going to ask you for your associated text that you want in there. I want this to say station 1 plus 0, 0. Click enter twice, and there is your station. So you don't have to do that all over. Just enter the command CP for copy. Select the text and select the leader. Click enter, and then click wherever you want it to snap to as far as where you're grabbing it and dropping into. So I'm just going to click here. And then there's that. I want that station, that station, that station, and that station. Now to change the associated language for those, because they're not all station 100s, you double click it. Change this to 200. You would also say what it is. 15, technically they're 14-inch alfalfa valves. In this case, they're going to be clover valves. Double click this one, station 300. And then just to make it quick, I'm just going to. Okay, there's all my stationing. All right, the thing I haven't called out is my water control structure. I'm going to have one right here where my cursor's at. So I'm going to go copy this descriptor, CP, command, select the objects you want copied, click enter, select where you want to grab it from. Oops, do that over. Copy, select it, and then move it over. At station 0 plus 0, 0, I'm going to have a water control structure. And assuming that water control structure detail sheet is on sheet 3, I'll put in parentheses sheet 3 for details. And that tells the person to go to that sheet and they'll find a picture of what it looks like. All right. To move your leader, it's in the way right now. We'll just move it on this side. So you just select what you want to move, hold the blue square, and then just drag it to wherever you want. So I want it to be here. Okay. So now let's just say that we wanted an air vent immediately after the water control structure, or let's just say you figured it needed to be 7 feet away, or you want it 3 feet away. Well, you just copy the language from one of these, enter, and you just say station 0 plus 10 feet away from station 0 plus 0, 0. We're going to do a 3-inch ARV. Move, enter. Okay. All right. I also like to show the flow direction of the fields, even though it's kind of common sense where it's going to go. So what I do is I use the leader function, LAD leader. I want my arrow to start here and go up to there. Click enter. I don't want any. Click enter twice. When you click enter twice, it'll give you the option to not put any text. So click done. And now you have a leader or an arrow. So I copy that 6 times. CP enter. Select what I want copied. Select where I want it copied from. Boom, boom, boom. And then on this one, the flow is going to actually be going from west to east. So we're going to rotate it. The command is RO. Click the leader. Click the center of the leader. That's where you want the rotation to be. And then just rotate it out where you want it to be. So I want it to go that way because the flow is going that way. If you want to put text on here that says flow, that's what I do. Just do M text. Select the corner of where you want your text box to be, and then the end. And there it is. And I want the verbiage to be flow. Enter. Oops. It made it really, really small because by default the corresponding annotation scale wasn't used. So if you double click it and you highlight it, you're going to go to make it annotative, make it Roman S, and make it 0.08. 0.08. So now there's our flow. The other way to do it, that's easier probably to do it, is don't use the command M text. Just click this text, CP for copy, click it, move it, double click it, change the language, flow, move, copy that 6 times, CP, select, point. Okay, so on this particular design, all of these are going to be 14-inch clover valves except for this one. This one was going to be a 12-inch alfalfa valve with bonnet because we're going to put gated pipe. So if I want to show the gated pipe strung along the field and irrigating that way, I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to do PL enter, polyline. I'm going to just start from this point. It automatically snaps to it. My gated pipe is going to be strung out that far so that I can make the line differentiate from the pipeline. I'm going to double click the pipeline, and I want to select width, and I want the width. You're just going to have to play around with it. I'll just say 5. So that made my width of that line greater than this one. I'm also going to make it blue. So just click it and then go to properties. If properties isn't up, just type in properties. So properties is right here for me. By default, the color is black. I want it to be blue. All right. So there's my pipeline, and then this is my gated pipe. So I'm going to double click this because I want it to be, as a designer, you make this whatever you want it to be. Double click it, width, I'll make it 1. Now I'll make it 2. All right, then I'm going to make this a different color. I'll just make it white for now. Properties, white. All right, so now I'm going to create another leader, LEADER for leader. I'm going to put where I want my arrow to be, come out, and then I don't want any more line extensions, so I'm going to click enter. Enter your text. It's going to be 12-inch gated pipe. We would probably we're going to put dimensions here in a little bit, so let's click enter, click it again, enter. There's my 12-inch gated pipe. Sometimes you have to strategically put your leader words where you can read them. If you put them in those trees, it's hard to read. If you have no other option but to put them in the trees, then give the leader text a background, and then you do that by double clicking it. That activates all these tools. The next thing you do is you click mask. You say you want to use a background mask. You click this. You want the background mask to be white. So you go to white. The true white is 255, 255, 255. The other way to get that is just go to true color and go all the way to the top, and there it is. Click OK, OK, done. Now you can see that. Now these are kind of hard to read as well, so I would recommend before you print out the final design that you put a background mask on all of them. Let's see here. So the next thing, I'm basically depicting to the farmer or rancher or someone that's never seen the design or a contractor that doesn't know what the heck is going to be done on the design. I have to portray to them the layout of where everything's going to be. So the other thing I show is on the profile, I will show all these stations for all these alfalfa valves, and then at the end you'll have what's called an end line assembly. So we'll do another, I'll just copy this leader and this text CP, move it out, move the arrow so that it shows. Actually, you can do it instead of having 2 leaders. We'll just change the language to include the following. So it's going to be a 12-inch alfalfa valve with a bonnet and a end of line assembly directly after alfalfa valve. Normally that sheet detail is 5. See sheet detail 5. So now it has all language. Once again, we can't read that, so double click it. Background mask, use background mask, change it to white. And there's that. So this is the proof and the case in point. That white is not that white. This is a gray white. This is a white white. So to truly get the color that you need when you're choosing your background mask, make sure that you choose 255, comma 255, comma 255. Okay. Oh, it doesn't let you do that, so just go to true color and go all the way to the top. So I guess I don't like spaces. Okay, so now I have, I think, enough information for, once again, this will match my profile. When I draw my profile, I'm going to show the same stations, the same descriptors. Only difference is going to be the elevations. Since we're doing a land leveling design, what I would show additionally on this layout that the contractor's more likely going to want is I show an elevation at the top of the field and the bottom of the field. So I would just say leader, and I'd say elevation at top of field 2 equals 5200, whatever it is. And then I'll say I'll copy this, CP, enter, bring it down here, double click elevation at bottom field. I'll just say 5219. You're going to have the land level report printed out already and with all the associated elevations, but sometimes I put it on the layout as well. You try to portray as best as you can to, you're illustrating a picture to a layman, just pretend they don't know anything, on what they've never seen the project, and you need to portray to them what the heck you're doing. So as long as you show them what you're doing, and this coincides with your profile, you will have completed your layout. And I would consider this, before I say it for sure, let me see, done layout. So in this case, there you, what you do thereafter, change, make the use the producer's name. So you put the producer's name there. If it's indeed the project layout, you leave that the same. This producer is in Hemes Springs. So all I'm doing is double clicking this text, and that allows me to change it. I think this is in Sandoval County. And then because I designed it and I drew it, leave my name there. But if it was someone else, you would just double click it, change the name. We'll change the date to today's date, 4/9/20. 4/9/20. All right. So, um, also on land leveling, just to make it easy, what I would do is I would put the following information on each field. I would say, and this is because the producer wants to see almost everything on the layout, and it's a good talking piece when you're having a pre-work construction meeting. If you can have as much stuff on the pre-work on the layout, you'll more than likely end up using that for the totality of the pre-work meeting. So what we'll do is since I already have a text box, I'm going to copy this one. So right now, it's not letting me touch any of these because my viewport is locked. I'm going to activate it by double clicking. I want this, so I'm going to click it, CP. I'm going to drag it over here, and I'm going to put the following language that will be taken from my land level report. So the land level design will be done, and from that land level design for field 1 and 2, I'll say field 1 and 2. I'll say cut per acre. I'll just say is equal to 280 cubic yard. 280. I'll just put cubic yards per acre. I'll say the slope equals 0.2%. And what else? Oh, I'll also put the total cut because that's what we pay them on. I'll just say the total cut's going to be 560 cubic yards. So this is kind of redundant, but at the same time, it makes it easy because then you can look at this, and when the contract, they can actually give this one sheet to the contractor, and the contractor can glean from it the extents of the work and how much cubic yards of material he's going to be doing for each field. So I would just copy that text, CP, enter. I would move it to the next one, and I would say, I'm just making up these numbers because I don't have the land that one. Field 3, and we'll say that was 100 cubic yards per acre. It's 0.2, and it was 300 cubic yards. We would do the same thing for 4, 5, and 6. And the producer could give this to the contractor. Contractor would know, all right, I have 500 feet of 15-inch gated pipe. So that's one thing I haven't called out yet. So we'll do leader, and I'm going to point to the pipe, pull out my line, click enter, and I'm going to say 500 linear feet. Click enter. The next line is going to say 80 psi SDR 51 PVC PIP. So the guy can quickly look at the drawing and say, all right, I need to bid on 500 feet. I need to install 500 feet of 80 psi SDR 51 PVC. I need to install 1, 2, 3, 4 14-inch clover valves and one 12-inch alfalfa valve with a bonnet. I also need to install, we don't know this distance, so what we can do is the command, well, the how to get your distances shown is you go to annotate, change it from linear to aligned. I want to know the distance from this point to this point. Right now, the only thing that highlights is node, so I'm going to go down to here and change my snap to include endpoints as well. And I'm going to click here. That's an endpoint, and here. And there's my length. So the contractor now knows that he has to install 385 feet of gated pipe, or at least include that in his material cost. So what you could do as well is, if you want to show the lengths and widths of the fields, do the same thing I did here. Just go to aligned, and what is the width of this field? Well, it goes about to right there, so it's about 95 feet, and it is 452 feet long. This stuff, it gets pretty scattered, brained in here, so you just have to adjust your wording and text so that they don't overlap each other. And then when I'm done with I'm just going to say I'm done. Like I said, this is an actual design, and we're killing two birds with one stone. There's my layout. We already did everything else. My counterpart did all the other work. I'm just doing the layout. So what I would do hereafter, assuming this is done, is right click my tab that shows the layout, click plot. If it says online map will not be printed, it's because you'll see what will happen. Let's just say okay. Continue to plot single sheet. Because I printed previously how I want the printout to be, I'm going to click previous plot, and all these come in default what I want. Now, if you don't have a previous plot and you select none, well, all you got to do is just change it to what you want it to be. So you always want it to be ANSI extend B 11 by 17. You want to center the plot, you want it to fit the paper, and you want to create a window. So if this isn't selected, click window. Then you click actual window. You select, I want to go, my window, you select what you want printed. So I want from this corner of the drawing to this corner of the drawing printed. Right now it's not letting me click because my snap is off. So make sure snap is on. It highlights blue. I want my print extents to be from here to here. I created a window. When you go to preview, your aerial goes away. So for that not to happen, you have to exit out of the plot. You got to double click the viewport, go to geolocation, capture area. You want to capture viewport. It'll take a snapshot of what's in the back. And now it's still going to give you an error that's not going to show, but I know it's going to work. I don't know why it does that. But now that we've taken a screenshot of it, we're going to go to NRCS layout, right click, plot. This is not true. Click OK. Continue to plot a single sheet. Go to our previous plot. Make a window around what you want plotted. Preview. And you're done. Now you can click. I did, when I plotted, I plotted DWG to PDF. So I'm going to plot this as a PDF. I'm just going to go to desktop. And I'm going to put this in a folder called, we'll just say a new folder, and I'll say producer folder, producer design drawings folder. Double click the folder, name this producer layout, and if this hasn't been checked yet, so I just put draft 1. Click save. Your PDF will show up, and there you got it. You're done with your project layout. If you send it to somebody to get checked, along with all your supplemental drawings, and you're good to go. That is from beginning to end how you start bringing in your points into AutoCAD and get a final layout. And we're done. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to pause this video.